Welcome to another sewing vlog, sew with me sort of thing. I intended this video to be very different than what it now actually is. I intended to sew a lot more than I actually did, and I intended the speed I did this to be a lot faster, and at the same time also I wanted to take my time, and that doesn't make sense, it's contradicting, but I also intended to just take things slow because I felt quite burnt out of the summer, and I did that. I definitely did that. But life did throw some other curveballs to make things a bit more stressful than it is. But let's just cut to chase. I hope you won't be disappointed. This project does not end in a good result. It doesn't, just a heads up. I normally film this before I sew it, but I was incapable to sit down and talk to the camera until now. So here's the plan. I went out and at first I wanted to sew 4 tops, 2 out of non-stretchy fabric, but I didn't know how to do it and my brain did not comprehend, so I decided, you know what, I have these 2 stretchy fabrics that I really want to make a top out of. So I thought, but when I tried on the blue dress that I initially wanted to make a top out of, I realized that I like it too much and I do not want to cut into it, so I was down to 1 top, which I was going to make out of this other top, which is actually one of my first sewing projects that I ever did. It was years ago when I did like a base course of sewing in Groningen. It was fun. I never finished it. It was originally a dress, but the fabric was not correct for the dress I wanted to make, so I opted up for a top, but I never really liked the top, so I never finished the top, and now we're dark because the sun is away. Is this real dark? We're just gonna deal with it. I'm sorry because the sun is going back anytime. Anyway, so I used that. I started with ripping all the seams apart so that I had these little pattern pieces, and then I got this cool stitches pattern for this, how do you call that top? It would have really been nice if I scripted these things. You know what, I'm actually very proud of this. I have made a start at organizing my patterns, but this top, can you see it? So this top I made out of the green top. I cut out of all the pattern pieces, measured 1 trillion times my body, checked in the description if the sewing allowance was included. So I started placing the little pattern pieces very precisely on the already existing pattern pieces, and to my delight it fitted perfectly. I did made a little alteration. I wanted to have like more of a, it's not a v-neck, but it's like it goes like this and this. The way I did that was I drew it up a tight fitting black top, and then I got it out and then drew it like that. You have like some, you don't know. Yeah, so I drew that in and adjusted the pattern to make that work, and then cut all the pattern pieces out, which, went well. Cutting out pattern pieces wasn't that. At this point, I didn't really realize what a major mistake I had made. We'll get to that. We'll get to the end, and then I will show the pattern piece. Okay. Anyway, by this time it was time to start sewing. Obviously started with the 2 darts in the front and the back piece, because the back piece is originally meant to be cut on a fold, but since this was a shirt that was meant to have a zipper in the back, I had cut a centimeter sew allowance in the middle extra so I could sew the back pieces together. So I did that, then went on to the little down piece. I am so good at explaining, I'm so sorry. And then I went to the 3 pieces in the front, sew those together, then the top and the bottom pieces of the top together, and then it was time to sew the front and the back together by the shoulders. It all went very well. I would say I sewn it better than any stretch fabric item of clothing I ever made. That is like one of my problems. I always struggle making stretchy fabric things. It's just not something I'm very good at, and I think there's like some sort of curse on that for me personally. But I did sew it really well. It looked very neat. I was very proud until I just tried the front and back piece over top and like as this little gape thing, and was like, is this going to fit? This seems very, very tight. But I gaslighted myself into believing that this fabric would stretch far enough to do that. Newsflash, it didn't, but I didn't try that out until I sewn the arm pieces on it and then the side pieces, and then before I hemmed anything, I tried it on. That's where I realized that no, the fabric isn't stretchy enough for that. You would have to get very, very stretchy fabric for that. Wait a minute, I will show you what I mean. Okay, can you see it? Yeah, it's bad. It is so bad. My boob's supposed to be in this little part. I don't think blood is getting to my hands or my down body. It's really, really tight. And for like the entire I couldn't figure out what went wrong. And obviously something did went wrong. I mean, objectively, this is bad. This is not how it's supposed to look or how it's supposed to fit. And I couldn't understand, because even then I measured myself again. I looked at the description of which size I should get. They even said that I should go for one size down if I was in a between size, which I didn't, because like I don't like tight fitting things or like too tight fitting things. So I didn't do that, yet I ended up with this. And I couldn't figure out for the longest time what went wrong until I did the measuring test, because at every pattern that you print out, you get this little square. Usually it says it's supposed to be 5 by 5 centimeters, because that is what it's supposed to be. And it always says to print that out, only that one page, and measure it. Check if it's correct, if it is that 5 centimeters. So I did that, and it turns out it's half a centimeter smaller than 5 centimeters. So it's 4.5 centimeters. So that's what went wrong. I printed it out incorrectly. Luckily for me, I didn't really make the other top, because that one is half a centimeter too big. It's half a centimeter too big. It's like 5.5 centimeters, because that top would be too big. Although that's easier to fix than whatever this is. So always check the little square if it's the size that it's supposed to be. Very important. Didn't do that. Never had a problem with that. Never struggled with it. Did now. So yeah, this is not what it's supposed to be. It's very uncomfortable. Going to change out of this, but not until I give you a nice 360. So definitely this yeah, too tight, way too tight. It would otherwise be very cute. Like I said, I never sew something from a stretchy fabric that looks is this neat and looks good, except for the sides. Also, I don't know anyone who's this small, so I also don't know what to do with it. I'm disappointed, because this would be such a cute top. It isn't, because I made a mistake. I'm going to change out of it, because really I'm starting to not feel my hands anymore, so be back in a second. So yeah, that's this week. I'm disappointed in myself. It does seem to be fitting for what is life right now. So I hope this video has been somewhat enjoyable. I definitely did not enjoy the but I thought at least make a video with it. It's nice to see someone online that just doesn't know how to do things. I find it comforting to see people like screwing things up sometimes. Also, I didn't got a top out of it, even though I really need some basic tops. I don't have them anymore because the ones that I did had, I wore to pieces. So I was like, I'm gonna make some, and now I'm very discouraged. I could have had a free top basically if I just printed it out correctly, but I didn't. So that's this week's video. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do, please leave a like and a comment. Yeah, I will see you in the next video. Don't know when it's gonna be up online. Right now, nothing is going according to plan, or is really something I can plan at all. Things are just going, and all I can do is go with the flow. It's confusing as hell, but I will be here eventually, and until that time, I don't know, until that time, what am I supposed to say? Have a good time, and with people that are going to October and Halloween is an actual thing in that country, enjoy it for my part too. Sounds really cool. We don't do that here. I've actually never met anyone that really celebrates Halloween here in the Netherlands. I'm sure they exist, but I don't know them. So I'm not going to. I will just probably really going to enjoy watching Rachel Maxey and live vicariously through her. Yeah. So, bye. Meant to go scripting. I've scripted. I'm not happy with it. Not certain what to say. So let's just get to the chase. No. I started placing the... Why am I so incapable of talking? This top I may... Jesus. Sorry, my brain just feels like this all the time at the moment.